You're listening to Tehachapi with Key Budge, Corey Costello, and Greg Garrett.
Welcome to another episode of Tehachapi. I'm Key Budge, Greg Garrett, Corey Costello join us. We've got a special show today. We're going to be talking to Kelly Bearden from the SBDC. And he's someone you know very well, Corey.
Yeah, the Small Business Development Center. They operate out of CSU Bakersfield. They're part of a kind of a bigger conversation with the SBA, the Small Business Administration, federally funded. But they provide free advice for small business, either owners, folks thinking about opening a small business, and then right now, people that might be in business trying to figure out the federal loans, the CARES Act, that kind of stuff. They're really busy doing all that right now. So, and Kelly's working Kern, Inyo, Mono County. So all of our neighbors, and he's based out of Bakersfield, but they have a big Tehachapi presence. So looking forward to chatting with him.
And there's so much to know, and it's not, nothing is free. But let's say call Corey, and then he can help you kind of guide you through this journey that you might want to take, because we can boil it down to what you might need. We want to help you succeed.
Yeah.
Getting out of your garage, if you're going to start a business, into a building.
They're
right?
kind of like a Shark Tank without the money.
There you go.
I mean, it really is.
But they have money too, right? There are grants, there are loans,
Sure,
low interest loans, forgivable loans. There's so many. The a la carte menu is forever long, and it's really good. And you can just pick and choose where you need to go.
Starting a business does not have to be intimidating.
Right.
And that's something I think that we'll probably get in the conversation. But I know I've attended some of the webinars and training and things that they do. And there's lots of information. If I was thinking about getting a business started, they would be a great resource.
And they've helped a lot of the businesses in Tehachapi win awards recently. World Wind and Solar a few years back, Business of the Year of the region. I think Marty Pay Insurance had it at one point. South Street Digital as well got it last year. So a lot of Tehachapi presence in the region as far as Small Business of the Year candidates and then winners.
And speaking of awards, Tehachapi, we're asking our fans and listeners of Tehachapi, if you like the show, we're in a category that we could win a podcasting award if you think that we're doing a decent job.
So government podcasting awards? I am not sure. Tell me more about that.
There's so many categories for podcasting, and we fit into, and what we try to do as a small government agency is provide information. We can expand on some things that we normally can't, where you get sound bites or maybe a quick press release, but we're able to expand upon things that may be of interest, like with today's show, talking about potential new small businesses.
Right, and that's exactly, we're just trying to get information out so that people, if we touch one guy, and then some gal, and then we can figure out, can we help you achieve your goals, or can we inform you more about what we do to help you serve you better, right? That's the intent.
Right.
So the People's Choice Podcast Awards is the name of the group. We are in the Government and Organizations category. Yeah, folks can go to podcastawards.com. Pretty easy to remember that. And there's a sign up there for voting and nominating and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you'll see us on the Government and Organizations page. The one who won last year, actually, The Impact, was a really cool podcast, kind of what they follow legislation that leaves Washington. Okay, then what happens? What's the impact of said legislation? Because so many things get thrown in as trailer bills and that kind of stuff, and you don't actually know. And they followed a lot of that. So they obviously are much smarter than we are. So they won last year. So hopefully we'll.
If you sign up, it's a quick email, and you create a little password account, and then you can vote. Then what happens is that nomination, your vote, will go in, and then they will send out an official ballot a little bit later in the year, and then it's the people's choice. You guys get to decide which of these podcasts. So if we're in that category, that'd be great. It'd be an honor. And if it's not, we can at least maybe turn you on to some other podcasts where you get information. So if we're not it, we're not it.
We're going to continue doing what we do because we feel like it's very important to get information out.
But they encourage us to talk about it on your podcast. Sure. This is one of the things that they ask you to do, is to get your listeners, if they feel motivated, to go do that.
I mean, there's even great, like if you're just going through just of last year's winners, I mean, talk about just names of podcasts, which are fantastic, that that one of them was, the name was We're Drunk and We Know Things.
Yeah, we're drunk and we know things.
That was, Dad's drinking bourbon.
Not on.
A government.
No. But these are some of the names, and so just because games and hobbies, the reasons I'm broke.
Right.
Yeah.
These are all so we're up there in the name category. Tehachapi's a great creative name.
There you go. And certainly we're not in the Joe Rogan podcast
not
realm.
even close.
But this is a lot of fun, and we hope
Right.
we're actually informing people.
Yeah, so podcastawards.com, check it out and see if you throw us a bone.
That would be great. I think it's time we move on to our conversation. Looking forward to talking to Kelly Bearden. So, guys, you ready for the conversation?
Absolutely. Let's get to it.
Let's talk about small businesses. Joining us on the show right now is Kelly Bearden, the director of the SBDC out of Cal State Bakersfield. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Hey, well, thanks for having me.
Let's talk about SBDC. Let's inform our listeners on what the SBCD does.
Probably the background, of the organization, because there's some federal dollars. You've got some attachment to UC Merced, CSUB. So maybe explain to folk kind of the hierarchy of the SBDC and how that money, eventually comes down to the small businesses in our community.
And why don't we start with, what does SBDC mean? What is that acronym? Why don't we start with that?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, of course, we get to have a lot of acronyms in what we do, but we have CSUB, of course, California State University, Bakersfield, and the SBDC is the Small Business Development Center. The SBDC program nationally, it's a national program funded out of the U.S. Small Business Administration to kind of get money to the local areas of our country. So what we do is we cover 3 counties out of our office in Bakersfield, Kern, Inyo, and Mono counties. So what the SBDC does is it provides high-quality business consulting. And this is already paid for out of your tax dollars. Funding for this program is coming from the federal government, and then also the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development kicks in, and the County of Kern is a great economic development partner, along with other resources. We're able to bring free consulting to over 500 businesses a year. And this could range from anything from somebody who comes in and just needs a few questions asked in 15 or 20 minutes to a more complicated process and a more complicated consulting that could be literally dozens and dozens of hours until we get that successful outcome. In addition to the consulting, we also train small businesses. And last year we were in Tehachapi for our East Kern Capital Summit. Really, we find a lot of small business owners wanting to expand and needing that access to capital. A lot of people wanting to start businesses and are looking to navigate the very difficult parts of getting capital for startup-type ventures. We were there last fall, had a good program, talked about a lot of different aspects of it, but our main program for training, and which really works well these days, are our webinars. We've been doing webinars since 2013, and lately, of course, our focus has been on a lot of the funding programs that are available from state, federal, and also local resources. So we have the federal PPP program. We have the SBA disaster lending program, of which, both of them are new. The disaster program's been around a long time, but it's never really been the economic injury portion of it that has been used anywhere close to this magnitude. And then, of course, we have Kern Recovers, the local program that is really doing a marvelous job of filling in capital needs for those that kind of slip through the cracks. And then also their PPE program for distributing the personal protection equipment to local businesses.
You brought up the training part, and I think that's obviously folks come to you when they want to start a business, and that there's that part. But a lot of the success stories that you've had, especially in Tehachapi, have been, small business owners sometimes just think about keeping the lights on, right? Money in, money out. I got to pay my employees. But you guys really sit down with them and actually say, okay, give me a budget. And a lot of the times are like, oh, wait, a what? I mean, you really make them kind of rethink the way they do business, and it's not difficult, but it really is kind of a retraining, isn't it?
It really is. And really, right now, we're really preaching cash flow management. And going through this where you have so many businesses that are so impacted with the COVID-19 and reopening and closing and then restarting, it's very difficult. And right now, we've had the benefit of having the programs, but a lot of businesses, their money is going to go away for what they've had. It's really, really essential to get to the numbers part of things, to really look at how much cash you have and how you can manage your cash moving forward. Business owners really need to look at deferring everything that they have. When we kind of looked at this crisis in March, after the PPP loan came out and after Kern Recoveries, we really saw that we were getting into the summertime and the fall to where there might be a real credit crunch. So really, that is a great opportunity to look at your numbers and totally understand them, factor in what revenue you're going to have coming in and when, and be able to allocate your expenses and use that budget to really kind of manage your program through the crisis.
So, Kelly, it sounds like that you have a lot of resources for existing businesses with our COVID-19 and and elements that you can help them with. But if I were a small business owner, or actually, I don't even know I'm a small business owner yet, I'm working out of my garage, I'm baking cookies, or I'm making a widget. What would you suggest I do? Would you suggest I pick up the phone and call you, go to your website? How do I transition from my garage to a legitimate business with a shingle somewhere in downtown Tehachapi so that I can start marketing my product? What would be your process there?
I would go to our website at csubsbdc.com and start here and go through a little brief introductory period to where you could sign up for the free services. And really one of the programs I'm really proud of that I don't talk about enough is that we have student interns through our School of Business and Public Administration at CSUB, and they've really kind of mastered a few things. And one of them is a software platform called LivePlan, which is really a great interactive tool for business planning. And whether you want a business plan that's 5 pages to use for managerial or checklist to get your business up and going, or if you need something that's more complicated, more of a 20, 30 page to try to access capital and gain investors. Really working with our student interns on LivePlan, and again, it's free. LivePlan is a sponsor of the SBDC and allows us, we have a certain number of licenses that come through them, so we work with about 15 clients at one time on that particular platform. But the great thing is it's interactive to where you can get online and you can work on your business plan and then have questions and then contact your consultant and work with them. One of the other quick things is I would really try to assess my capital needs early. A lot of businesses that are starting get started with friends and family, and it's friends and family to start with and until they're really bankable and can really do a loan or some of the unique ideas out there. We're going to see a big influx in crowdfunding, I believe, in the next few years, or a few months, actually. And even the investor crowdfunding that was slow to take off is going to be a great option for a lot of these businesses also. And
so all of that makes sense to me as the city manager, but as a small business owner, somebody that's baking cookies in the garage, that's Greek, right? It's scary stuff. And so you can always call the city, talk to me, talk to Corey Costello, and we can bridge over to you or Jay Thompson at the SBDC and talk about and really hold people's hands so that they can figure out really what needs to be done, what's important right now, what can be deferred, what options are out there for training, grants, funding sources, all those sorts of things. So it's don't be scared, right? Don't be scared to take that leap. And don't overextend yourself either. Don't go borrow $100,000 from your dad and then blow it
with no plan.
With no plan, right? So we want to be able to help you create that plan so that you're successful. United States is built on small business, right? Every business that we have now was once a small business, right? The biggies. And so let's help you bridge that gap, and don't be scared to pick up the phone and call us.
Hey, Kelly, you mentioned crowdfunding. What is crowdfunding? For me, the guy who doesn't have a business, but maybe there's something in the back of my mind, where does that come into play? I've heard it, but I'm not really familiar with that term.
Well, there's basically 3 different types of crowdfunding, and one of them that is most common is people see the GoFundMes, where they're more for personal accounts, but sometimes they're for business ventures. We started seeing some after some of the protests and demonstrations pop up. But really what it is it's a donation-based where you have people from the crowd who are willing to invest in your project or sometimes your business and actually provide capital, and you provide something in return. Some of the basic reward sites like Kickstarter, GoFundMe, Indiegogo, what you see oftentimes they will actually give rewards or give perks in order for individuals to contribute. And it really kind of spins out of your family and friends. You need the crowd to begin with to have a successful campaign. But once it does, it's a great opportunity to raise capital that you don't have to repay. You just have to come up and pay your perks. And we're seeing platforms that, raise $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, and the cost and value of providing those perks, whether it be a T-shirt or a sweatshirt or maybe a pre-sale of a product that's actually being crowdfunded, it actually can be, as little as, a 10% or even less of what you raise. So having that capital really is a great start and really can leverage other funding that comes along. There's also a thing called equity or what is also called investment crowdfunding, and that is where you actually can go online and you can buy stock in small businesses that are online. And it kind of came out of the Jobs Act back in 2012. And it's really been a little slower to take off than I really anticipated. And I'm thinking now that with what's going on, a lot of people are going to look and say, my business isn't going to survive. And, I've put a lot of money into this business. And, if I just had some capital to get it over this hump and continue on, I have a $10 million business. And if I don't make it, I have a $0 business. So oftentimes people will say, 100% of zero is not quite as good as maybe giving up some of your ownership and having 70% of a business worth $10 million. So that's something I really think, and I know that is a complicated concept, much different from, I think, what people understand about the other crowdfunding as far as Kickstarter, GoFundMe. You give them $25 and they give you a bumper sticker. So that is an area that I really see a lot of support, even in nonprofits and others.
For all of us, there was a change when COVID-19 hit, but how much of your workload has really shifted from, obviously there's still small businesses that are trying to get started, need help, but it seems like a lot of what you all at the SBDC are doing now is a lot of the navigation of the CARES Act and the PPP program. And how much has your world changed, I guess you can say, since COVID-19 and its impact?
Well, I would say beforehand we had kind of a mix of clients between, I'd say half were existing business owners and half were those wanting to start projects. And now it has shifted to where it is literally 98% existing business owners. And there was a huge amount also. Our goals for the entire calendar year, have already been surpassed, given how busy we were since starting on March 18th. So that has changed a lot, and it's kind of just the dynamic of that. But we're going to start seeing a shift, we believe, where we're going to see a lot of the business owners that came in to get assistance on the capital programs. We're going to see them come back and also look for assistance on the planning and cash flow. And we're also going to start seeing a lot of startups, and we're starting to already, people with ideas about how maybe a business model will work in a COVID-19 world. So it's going to shift back, I believe, starting now, but in the next few months, to where it comes back to a lot of people analyzing opportunities out there, because there are great opportunities out there.
I think some of that
workload. To see what business models work in all this.
I think some of that workload was my fault, though, because people would call me the questions like PPP, and I'd be like, yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to call Kelly. Here's his number, or you're gonna have to call Jay. You guys really are whizzes. I mean, you understand these federal forms that, like Greg said, might as well be in Greek for people even like me and people that are in this business a little bit, and especially the small business owner. And you guys have done a great job, especially as regulations change and payback changes. I mean, you guys have stayed really on top of it.
Well, thank you. I think we were kind of set up for that because we had done some work, and there had been previous SBA disasters. We had the Ridgecrest earthquake last year, and we were over there working with a few businesses over there, and we had a fire in the KRV a few years back. So we were kind of ready for the disaster, even the disaster loan program, even though it changed dramatically after the CARES Act. And the PPP, we've done so much SBA lending over the years that we were kind of versed there as well. But really, I think what has made our webinars popular, even continuing now, and we've done 18 of them since March 18th on Wednesday at noon, is that people really want that new added information, and it's been coming really slowly. We've been able to get the information and try to analyze it in as easy a way as possible for individuals to learn, the PPP process and the disaster lending process. But it's been a dynamic shift from existing from a mix of half to 100% almost existing businesses.
Now, you guys have been doing the webinars for quite a long time, because I know I've attended some that you guys have done on social media and things that kind of apply into my workforce and learning how to kind of market your business. And the webinars are not new to you. I'm just curious, are with this COVID-19, are you guys seeing an uptick in people participating where they're now getting more into this Zoom world that we've evolved to? The webinar just seems to be such a natural process for people to move over to get information. Have you guys seen any change in the amount of participants?
Oh, definitely. We started the webinars in January 2013, and we didn't do one, even though they're called the Webinar Wednesday. We would do maybe one or two a month on topics. And again, it's just because of the vast territory that we serve was the reason we started doing them, just kind of a lucky thing. Kern County is the third largest geographic county in the state, and then you give us Inyo County, which is number 2. and say, oh, that's not enough, here's mono. So it was an effective way for us to reach a really broad geographic area and to include our people in Eastern Kern County as well. But it has been, there's been a huge uptick because as people were looking for information early on, it was a lot of business owners. And some of our earlier webinars had literally people that viewed it live and then on demand afterwards, literally several hundred people. But there's still interest in them because as we continue to roll through, we continue to keep getting off the topic of the PPP loan and how to get forgiveness and adapting all the rules and what small business owners need to know. And we're really trying to get back to that survival mode for these businesses that once their lifeline, their PPP loan is gone, if they did not receive a disaster loan, the economic injury disaster loan, or what we call EDIL, then, it's really going to be tough if we have continued shutdowns in so many segments of our industries in the county. There's that goes into there. And also, I believe that, just the way things are changing now. We started seeing a shift even before the pandemic where people were we had some simulcasts that were actually live workshops and also webinars. And in some of those, we had far more attendees online than we had that would actually make the effort. So I think the trend was changing, and now that it's mandatory, there's no way around it. It's kind of, I think, going to stick around for quite a while.
Kelly, the SBDC regularly has awards, and we've had some Tehachapi businesses that win the regional SBDC awards. But correct me if I'm wrong, are we not sitting in the presence of a current SBDC award winner? Can you expand on that a little bit?
You're going to steal my thunder.
Is that a setup? What? You guys set me up.
Did prematurely go out publicly with this recently, but yes, we do have the 14-county region that I identified that goes from Kern all the way up to Stanislaus and the Pacific Ocean and the state of Nevada. And there's a variety of business categories that are recognized. And also we have a champion. And the Tehachapi area businesses have really been dominant in this program over years and years. We've had several winners from Tehachapi, even Business of the Year, which was a few years back with one of your local solar companies, I might add, wind companies, World Wind and Solar. But also several awards, and now this year we have that tradition continues with the champion of that entire 14-county region, Mr. Greg Garrett, the city manager of Tehachapi.
He's a champion too. Awesome.
Our award ceremony was canceled. It was canceled in May, and we're still trying to figure out how we're going to recognize him and do it. We were hoping to do a smaller event where we could meet together, but that looks like it's becoming more and more problematic. But really, the SBDC has had such a great partner with the city of Tehachapi over the entire 8 years I've been here, and I think that partnership has really benefited not only our SBDC and the quality of clients that come out of that region, but also the projects that actually get successfully funded and the jobs that are created locally.
Is there a SBDC championship belt that Greg gets to wear because of this? I'm just wondering. I can go get it made if we need to.
I don't need a belt. So, thank you for that.
But congratulations.
Thank you for that. Kelly, I'm just looking at your website. It says helping your business start, grow, and succeed. And there's so many. There's a lot of success story videos that you can look into. And information. I just want to really direct people to that website. Go to the success story videos, Triassic Vineyards, on and on and on, all about, the businesses that are local that you can relate to and their success stories working with the SBDC and creating and growing their business. That will give you a good indication as to the success and the ability for the city of Tehachapi, your team, and others. We really want to help you succeed. That's really the point here, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. And when you look at those success videos, you see two obvious. There's not a lot on there, but there's two obvious Tehachapi-based businesses. But there's a third that's really kind of hidden under there, and it's one that started in a garage in Tehachapi and ended up moving to Bakersfield when they expanded. And it expanded several times over the last dozen years, and that's thermal energy products. Ivan Ayala. So even when you guys, you guys do such a great job of even allowing people to start at home and then move their business out when it expands, it becomes a significant business for our community.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're in Tehachapi, if you're in California City, the Antelope Valley, Bakersfield, so on and so forth. I've always said that it's important for all of our neighbors to be healthy and we share in that success together, right? If you need to grow and expand, and we can't participate or show you the ability to expand in our town, maybe we're going to show you a way to expand in a neighboring town, because we want Kern County to thrive.
Yeah, and the East Kern region is becoming so dynamic, and it is just getting ready to really, for you guys, continue to grow, but for the entire region, you're starting to see really seeds actually planted that are going to grow and make some great economic development out in eastern Kern County.
Kelly, I've got a quick question for you before we've got to go. If I've got the idea, the thought in my head, and I know I need to put together a business plan, can I come to you guys and you might direct me how to get that started from the idea phase into implementing and becoming a business?
Absolutely. I think a lot of times you'll see people that come to the SBDC, they have great business ideas, but they're the technician in that particular business. They're not the business person. And so that's where we try to fill in with our experienced consultants. We have 15 of them. You mentioned Jay Thompson. Jay's done a phenomenal job in the Tehachapi community and throughout Kern County for that matter. But we have 14 other consultants. We have the student consultants that we had talked about as far as interns that work with some of the programs. But it's really that planning process and be able to start putting onto paper what we used to say, put it onto paper, put into your device, what is up in your head. And it's kind of getting that process of getting the ideas and the planning that you have and structuring it in a way to where you could do a fair analysis if you have a good business model idea, a good idea to continue to see if it's viable.
Well, excellent. Kelly, I know we're running up on time, so we want to just say thank you so much for joining us. Before we go, can you provide the contact information if people want to reach out, or is it the website, email, phone number? What is it that people should go to?
Well, the easiest is the website, which is csubsbdc.com, or you can Google Small Business Development Center, and we'll pop up there. Also, our phone number is 661-654-2856. Our office might be closed right now, but we're open, and our consultants are busy, and we're working with people around the clock, it seems like. So do reach out to us, give us a call, go to the website and sign up, and a consultant will be assigned to you based on your needs.
Kelly Bearden, the director of the SBDC, that's out of the Cal State University of Bakersfield. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We look forward to having a conversation with you again here in the future.
Well, thank you guys, and keep up the great work up there in Tehachapi.
Thank you, Kelly.
Hey, you guys take care.
Thank you,
man.
Kelly. Have
Bye-bye.
a good day.
Bye-bye now.
Another episode of Tehachapod is coming to a close. I enjoyed that conversation with Kelly Bearden. I'm trying to think like if I want to start that small business. Not saying that I'm leaving, Greg, but I always like to keep my options open. But he opens
Side
your
hustle.
mind.
Yeah,
It's the side hustle.
There you go.
And I think the opportunities there, we're doing something like this, especially in this pandemic that we've been seeing, it can be intimidating.
It can be. Listen, we live and breathe this business, right? We speak the language. We're bureaucrats. We understand what it takes. We hope to start a business, and we see businesses come and go. Businesses fail. Businesses thrive. So we have something to add. If you just would pick up the phone and call us or come into City Hall, even though we have some COVID-19 restrictions right now, we're still hosting meetings. We can help you achieve your goal. Don't keep things a secret. It's not like you're gonna not succeed if you just let us help. And we really want to help, and we can help you. Provide you resources, push you in the right direction so that you can thrive and succeed.
Yeah, my biggest toolkit is the partners that we have. The SBDC being a major part of that, because I don't have all the answers, nor do I even attempt to. These guys are pros, like Kelly and his team. So they're part of that toolkit that we talk about that you'll find in our economic development literature. So those are the folks that I like to connect with and connect people with when we'll have that first conversation, a chat with me on the phone. Maybe we talk about a site. And then after that, maybe the next stop is most likely to the SBDC if you're especially trying to get things kicked off, or even now, like we mentioned in the interview, during the how do I figure out my PPP loan or my CARES Act funding. Those guys are certainly the experts in those categories.
And it might not be you, the listener, but you might know a buddy that's working on something.
Right.
Let him know that there are lots of resources out there.
And even the coaching. Maybe they have a business, but financially it's just kind of hit and miss. I mean, I wish years ago I've parents that are small business owners. I wish they'd have known about these services. It would have made their life a lot easier just having a little more of a game plan laid out for them by a professional other than, their CPA and themselves. So that resources are out there for people that are even already established that just might need a little, retraining as to how to operate.
And we're not adding bureaucracy. We're streamlining
Yeah.
your thought process and your efficiencies.
It'll help remove some of the stress, make it a little bit more streamlined. And if you understand how you can possibly succeed, it's up to you.
Yeah.
You, the individual, get to do it. Here's just, like you said, it's in the toolkit. So it's a great resource. Kelly's very easy to talk to. You can tell with his webinar experience that he knows what he's talking about. He's been doing it for years, and that training. Even if you just go to the webinars, I think you'll pick up things that you can help improve your
And
business.
he has a big interest in East Kern, Tehachapi, Eastern Kern County. He's very active in a lot of our groups, and that definitely you can tell because he knows the community.
And if you have an idea of something that you'd like to hear us talk about, a topic that for us to explore or expand upon, reach out to us. Send us an email, media@tehachapicityhall.com. We'd love to hear from you. And also a reminder, that if you enjoy what you're listening to, you can always send out a nomination for the People's Choice Podcasting Awards. We appreciate the time that you spend with us, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Tehachapod is a conversation about Tehachapi designed for the people who live here or who would like to know more about this mountaintop community. If you have a question you would like answered, email media@tehachapicityhall.com. We will try to answer it on a future episode of Tehachapod.